one of my lenses is not like the other.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
I thought those were supposed to be like unbreakable, not ceramic, but
Kimmy Schmidt. Yeah, that is. That's,
I don't even know how it happened.
That's some broken ass. That's some broken ass lens right there. That's a big old star. What was the thing? You know, starfish in your lens.
Yeah, chocolate starfish.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how. I assume just in my pocket or at work or something. I dropped it. Maybe, I guess I don't drop it on my phone very often, but it just broke, and then I had to and then it stayed all together, just smashed, and it looked horrible. So I picked out all the glass, and now it's vulnerable, and I feel.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I usually run caseless, but now I feel like I need to grab a case that has one of those shields that covers up the lenses. My friend Cameron has one of those, and I think he does it for like paranoia about somebody hacking his phone and looking around. But now I'm
because that will definitely protect him.
Happy anniversary.
Okay.
1 year ago today, we met under the bull.
Oh my word! Is it really?
I think so. Yeah, or around here. I just had a memory come up on my phone of the day that we were leaving Finland, and
right.
So I assume that we got there the next day, which would be today. So, yeah.
Oh wow. Well, there you are then. Happy 1 year anniversary of us meeting in real life.
Yeah, and then like 5 months we'll be here. Oh, I'm so excited, dude.
Very excited.
We're about to start home remodel that should finish before you arrive. And man, it is so needed, so necessary, so excited. Yeah. All right, spiky things.
Oh, nice. Spiky things. Spike me, daddy.
All right. So you mentioned that we all need escape valves, just kind of as an aside, just as a truth, like an obvious thing. And before I go off on my thoughts, do you have more to say about that? That sounds. Do you want to justify yourself?
Yeah, no, because we do. So it's not a controversial statement.
Oh, I love this.
I mean, you can disagree. It's not like
I
a
disagree.
weird thing to say. Like it's kind of.
I mean, I also agree, but I disagree.
Sure, but okay, excellent. So the thinking is like in some degree. Okay, I'm sure there is a stage of enlightenment one can reach where one is at such an equilibrium where just, the air outside their body is the same temperature as the air inside their body, and that's perfect.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a float tank?
No, I think I should like to.
That reminded me of that. Yeah. I've done it once. It was interesting.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And there are definitely times where you just go, I'm good. Like I've got balance. And so, but I think it's rare for us to live complete lives of balance. Sometimes, some days are more balanced than others. And I think with anything, I think if you don't have something to let off steam, to relieve pressure, because there's a build-up, and it's like, yes, it would be fantastic to address the build-up, but that might not be immediately readily available. And so another way is let's just relieve that pressure for a bit. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about. And I think where I was like your sort of thing last week was like, I'm just going to keep on making noises. Just I'm not going to say any words. I'm just going.
That's the general vibe for sure.
And then he was like,
okay.
Yeah, I think That is, I think I'm probably finished.
Yeah. And I agree, except for the part where you say, the part where it feels like that you dismiss addressing the buildup.
I don't think I do.
I mean, I know you said like it's not always readily available, and I think that I think that needs further investigation.
Yeah. Okay. So there are only so many hours in a day.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
And sometimes those hours are taken up with life. They're not always taken up with the and it's not just hours, it's mental energy as well. Units of energy, if you like, that are we can't always when we get to the end of the day and all our units are spent, we don't have any more units to then spend on doing the work that we might want to do to improve our lot. And some days we will, and those are the days where we can sit down and we can go, you know what, actually, I need to have a think about this. I need to address this bit of my life or whatever. And I think sometimes we do and sometimes we don't, and we have to be kind and, allow that to be the case.
Agreed. 2 points on that. One...
Stop saying you agree with me and then saying...
Yes, a 100% cosign. Also, it's completely wrong.
Also, yes, and.
Yes, and we don't always have the energy to start working on things that could improve our lives or make things better. But they're like, I completely agreeing with that. And also, there's a trudgery of muck to get through to make, like, it's harder at first to start working on those things. And then when you do make the decision to start working on those things, they become easier, and then it perpetuates itself upwards. And so, but that should be phase 2. I think what we do to relieve the pressure from our valves is counterproductive, and it makes things hard, not just taking up time, but it makes things harder and makes us more want to release valves because it builds up pressure more than we think. We think we're releasing pressure, but we're just distracting ourselves while the pot is still boiling without lifting up the lid a little bit. Do you want me to give you? Do you want me to give you an example?
Well, I mean, by all means, for the illustration.
I mean, food's an easy one, of course. That's definitely not at all where I have been focused. But ultra processed foods, like they feel like an escape. Coffee, alcohol, a bunch of other stuff. It feels like, I'm just going to help myself out a little bit. I'm going to feel better. You feel better so temporarily. And then it keeps even if you don't feel like a crash, it just keeps you low, and it makes you feel like your baseline is low. I mean, it's not just feel like your baseline is lower, and you don't realize how good you can feel without it. And it takes a long time, especially if you've been using it for a long time. It takes a long time to reset and really get to the point where you do feel better. But if food isn't even the thing I'm thinking about most. The one main area that I've had on my mind lately is social media, specifically social media that uses AI to feed you more things. Like, you don't even need to scroll anymore. TikTok just tells you what to think and what to feel. And it's bombarding you with what we tell ourselves is relaxing or escaping or relieving, but it's pressure, it's filler, it's distraction.
The thing you just described, I think, is entertainment. But the other aspect of it is, I think that point denies the agency that you have as a human being.
Can I interrupt?
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
I mean, sure. It's like, yeah, we all have agency, but also this is a product designed to remove your agency. And all they
based on your preferences. And the point that I was going to make, and this is the point, to say it's a bomb that's a difficult one. To say it's a bombardment is to deny the fact that you're choosing to open it. Now, whether you go down a later road of like the addiction
100%,
and all that kind of stuff,
100%. I think that addiction is way overrated, underrated. It's
sort of underrepresented in
It's thought of as something like othering. It's like, oh, those addicts, those crazy people over there, those drug dealers, those the 10% of people that become alcoholics or whatever. Oh, those people are fucked up. When we don't all realize that we're all addicted to a whole bunch of shit and we've refused to acknowledge it. You asked me a fantastic question 2 episodes ago, as if I feel more addicted than the average person to food. And what I wish I had said is that I feel more aware to addiction, and that we all have food addictions. We all have addictions to things than the average person. Not that I'm more addicted than the average person. The level of addiction is the same. It's high. But the awareness and the forthrightness I have about it is enhanced. And what gets me fired up is not just, I mean, with the food aspect, at least, it's not just that that I'm addicted to food, but I'm addicted to products that are designed to extract as much money from me as possible. Just like the social media is designed to get us to stay on there as much as possible, and even to get us to fight for it. We want to protect it because we're addicted to it.
I had just set up a new Twitter account for a thing, and I minutes before we came on, I was like, "Oh God, I remember why I don't do Twitter anymore." Because within 10 minutes, it was just TERFs and anti-trans people. And so I'm not devil's advocating for the sake of it. Who devil's advocates for not the sake of it? Let's be honest. Okay, so yeah, I'll walk that back. But I definitely, because I think one of the things that we sometimes can do when we say certain things are just as they are, or they're, whatever situation is, we do deny ourselves the agency to do anything about it. You can choose to opt out. And I understand. I absolutely understand that addiction to some kind of source. Like for me, like Twitter was a really hard one to quit, actually. I kept coming back to it because I had this idea of being connected to a thing. Now I'm just exploring here. I'm just asking the question, but I'm just going to explore the idea. I think TikTok is a very different thing, and those algorithm based sort of endless scroll video things, that's a different matter. It's not really social media for one thing. I wonder whether the sort of discussion-based social media things, one of the reasons we come back to it is not because we're addicted, but it's because we want to be connected in an ever more isolated world where we don't know that many people around us.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a way that we can remain connected. I don't know, it might be a bit Pollyanna-ish, but it's a thought. But, I put a timer on TikTok. I set it up, I don't know, a year ago, maybe longer. Every now and again I'll break out of it. Most of the time I don't. And I think I worry less about the addiction. I think I worry more about, like I said, turning on a new Twitter account. This account didn't know anything about me, and 60% of what it was delivering me was either divisive or hateful. Like actively hateful to another group. Wherever you sit on that, it's that's fine. We're not talking about a nuanced debate. We're talking about people who hate.
Yeah.
And whatever it is that you like or hate, the idea that you just jump on a new platform and the first thing that you get delivered is divisiveness and hate, that that ain't good. That's not it.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is a problem more than the addiction. And I think I come down differently labeling lots of things as addiction, not because I think there's any stigma, but just because I want to make things less of a thing. By which I mean things like you are not fat, you have fat. You don't have capital A anxiety, you are anxious about a particular situation.
Yeah.
They're different things. And I kind of want to soften your take because it feels quite hard and it feels quite punishing. And I don't, I know that's not what you mean because you come at everything from love, but it also can feel quite self-punishing.
Since it feels that way, I definitely want to correct that, because the point is it's not our choice. It's
Sure.
it's not our fault at all. We're products of this society. We're products of what's put in front of us, and we have the agency to make decisions to a point. Like, we're also force fed a bunch, like I say force fed, like we're presented with these options that are candy. They're sugar coated. They look amazing, and they are not showing us the downsides to them that we have to figure out on ourselves, or we don't even understand, and we don't get that lesson that it eats up all our time. It gives us it so quickly turns to hate. It has a bunch of other downstream effects.
Can I dig into this specific, because why has social media been the thing that's loomed large for you at the moment?
Margaret and I just this isn't answering your question. Margaret and I just watched Hank and John Green at VidCon from 2024 last night, and it was a great conversation. At one point, they looked at each other's screen times, and John's taken a break from the internet, so his was pretty low, and it was like 2 hours, and he was like not so sure about that. It's like, man, it still seems kind of high, even though I'm supposed to be off the internet, and then Hank shows John his screen time, and they don't actually say the full number, but John goes, "Oh no!" And he goes on for like a minute. He's like, "Hank, I'm worried about you. How did you spend 10 hours on X?" And Hank's just like, "Here and there." Around this time last year, I think that's about right. I can't remember time anymore. Some time ago, Margaret and I read Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, and we also watched The Social Dilemma at the same time, and it was like a 1-2 punch of like, okay, we want to get off social media, and we did it, and we're like so happy that we did. And then I see and hear people. I hear people talking about social media, like you talking about mostly TikTok. I know you just like said it's more like media than social media.
Oh, it's not a distinction worth like fighting over.
Yeah. It's just it's an app with an algorithm that feeds us things. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And the it removes choice. It which
it doesn't. It's based on choice.
It's no. That's it's
not based on direct choice, but it's based on choice.
Like how you interact with the app changes its algorithm, which is what I think that you're getting at. But then but you don't say it doesn't Like even on YouTube, it's like suggested. There's like 10 different videos on the sidebar, and you can choose which one of those shitty next videos you want to watch.
Yeah.
This
I can
and honestly,
choose, and I choose a lot to skip. I skip a lot.
You skip a lot.
Yeah. Okay. I actually, we're getting off track because I want to get back to you.
Oh, great. Oh, yeah. Why is social media? I mean, okay, so
yeah,
and it's totally not about your TikTok habits. You're just my exposure to it in a closer manner. Yeah, I have one.
Can I tell you what I'm hearing?
Yeah,
and then you can tell me if I'm off base.
Sure.
What I'm hearing is a Brendan of, I can't remember if it was last year, who recorded
Divergence.
Divergence.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's.
And I hear you worrying about the hypothetical or theoretical, and in some cases very real, but it goes into some of the things we've talked about before about other people.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're concerned about the behaviors of other people. And I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong. That's what you're hearing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's not. I mean, in a way, yeah, it's way less personal than like that time was about some specific people. Now it's a little bit more like societally and using things that you've said and examples that you've given as things to build off of. But like, oh yeah, like my friend Cameron previously mentioned, he had speaking of screen time, he had a screen time log for his Instagram that was way higher than he expected. And so he did an app limit on it and he's using it less, and it's really great. But like when there isn't that awareness brought into it, when there isn't that presence to take stock of how much time it is taking up, it can so easily evaporate time. And that takes away from my view of what life is about, which is self-awareness, growth. And I know that's not everybody's thing, although, I take from teachers like Ram Dass and Alan Watts and others that say it kind of is the point. Also, we're using social media as a lens right now, but there was a sub point that I also wanted to bring up, or one of the reasons why you saying needing escape valves as an obvious thing struck me, is because you use the word need, and people just use that word because it's a word to use. But we have, what is it, five needs: air, water, food, social connection, gravity. I don't know.
Maths.
Yeah, something else. I don't know. But we don't need social media. We don't need processed foods. We don't need a lot of things that we tell our social. I said that. A lot of things that we tell ourselves that we need. We use that word "need," which is, to me, a part of addiction. Like that's if we say we need something when we don't need it, we actually just want it.
I think need is contextual. I need someone might need a new set of batteries because something that they rely on in their home is out of batteries. Yeah, you could pop that stack all the way down and go, do you need that thing? Do you need that thing? Do you need that thing? And I don't think that's that helpful.
I feel like words have a lot of meaning. And when we say that, like you just wanted to make the distinction between I am fat or I have fat.
Sure.
I feel like there should also be a distinction between saying I need batteries and my device needs batteries.
Okay. Pull on that thread.
Yeah. Like when we keep saying that I need something, especially when it's not something that you as a person actually need. That's a craving. That's an addiction. There's a path to suffering there because it's attachment. You're attached to this thing that you think you need, and it's not through telling ourselves that we need a release valve. What needing a release valve is telling us is that we're building up too much pressure somewhere in our lives, and we need to address that. We need to address the problem, the pressure, not create a porthole on the side of our brain so that the pressure can release out. And that's double. Like, let's address why you think you need it, and let's address thinking you need anything. I feel like saying need is kind of like fixing it in place. It's like, what is actually fixed? What is true? What is truth? What is actually, that's the way I am, or that's the way things are? Like, how do we know that? How do we know for certain anything? Fuck. I don't feel like I have presented the best argument for.
Have you ever looked into stoicism?
Yeah. Cameron gave me a book, The Daily Stoic, and I was reading that for a while. It was really great because it's like this daily, kind of a page a day kind of thing. And it goes through a whole bunch of different quotes and explanations. And he gave it to me in like September or something. And so I just started with that day that I was on, and it goes through a progression of like from novice to advanced and over the course of the year. And so I started more in the in the advanced, and it was great. I read it every day through the rest of the year, and then it hit January, and I was like, wow, this is really basic. Holy shit, I am so bored. So I got like halfway through January, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. But yeah, no, I do like stoicism a lot.
Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, I was thinking because the word, the original word vicious is an interesting one, because I guess, we might have said vicious, someone who I guess either has vices or indulges in vices. And I was thinking about another word, which is crutch.
I indulge.
Yeah.
I indulge. This isn't to say I'm a saint or to say I don't use need incorrectly. This is me ranting at myself more than anything else.
Okay,
but please carry on.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. Maybe because I'm spiky, but I feel less like I can jump down the rabbit hole with you on this one. It's not because there's anything fundamentally that I disagree with, but yeah, maybe there's just I'm just not at a place where you are necessarily, and I get that. It's strange, and I because like I don't know, because I was thinking like pretty sure I was pretty happy about a week and a half ago, and then a switch flipped, and I don't know what's happening. And any analysis of what could have changed, or is it just feels like? But I snapped on Monday, and I was briefly. I think I've been quite present and quite kind of in myself, and for a moment, for a split second, I was out of myself. And I didn't like where that person, and I was like, where, wow, that, okay, and whether everything has been an offshoot of that, I don't know, or whether that was just the start of something. I don't know, but I've been trying to get out and be outside more.
Nice,
just to say, and I think that is helpful and helping. So I think, I'm probably, because I'm not as on my Johnny on my bullshit as I perhaps have been, maybe I'm needing things to lean on, and maybe I'm not at the moment feeling like I can be challenged on that.
Sure.
Because I'm like, I need it, but I also don't know if I do need it. All I know is that I'm less sort of. When I say stable, I don't mean like liable to whatever. I just mean less sort of rooted, if you like. And like I think I said just before the call, just like not really feeling myself and not really feeling that sort of presence of being with myself. And it's just I sort of, it's very strange. I don't know where it went, but it went somewhere.
Do you meditate?
No. And where did this come up? This came up on Tuesday. I recorded an episode of List Envy, and funnily enough, it was all about how to get rid of or how to battle brain gremlins. And I came up with some sort of nice ideas, and I've enacted one or two of them this week. But meditating is not something I've done in a long time, and I keep meaning to get back into.
I'm going to send, if you, I'll send it to you regardless. You can listen to it if you want to. I'm going to send you one of my favorite meditations by Ram Dass. It's called Sitting Around the Fire, and it's by Ram Dass and East Forest. And there's a wonderful lyric video that goes along with it that's just like kind of beautiful and like folding in on itself and just like shapes and lyrics and stuff, and it's really great. And I've been using that lately to fall asleep too. Yeah, I've wanted to talk to you about this, and we probably won't get into it today, but at some point I want to talk to you, like, because I mentioned a long time ago that I feel like people meditate wrong or for the wrong reason. And I feel like I have more thoughts to pre-articulate about that and kind of
okay,
because that sounds a bit spiky, and of course I'm using your word spiky. Like, if they meditate, what does it matter what the reason is? That's great. Like, I don't know. I like meditation because it's just being. It's just existing. You're just there. You just get to breathe. You just get to be. How fucking great is that? We exist. Isn't that amazing? So fucking weird and cool. And there's not really any point. There doesn't have to be a point. We don't have to do anything. We want to do so many. Oh my God, I want to do so many things, dude. I was just making all these lists lately of all these things I want to do. I'm like, okay, gotta pray. And this is such a nine thing too. It's like having so many options and not being able to prioritize one because they're all equally important. And like, usually what I do is like, okay, what has a deadline? Then I'll start moving those up on the priority list, and then okay, like what? I try to like use logic to narrow things down to like, okay, how do I freaking pick what to do? Sometimes I just have to ask Margaret, I'm like, what's the best thing for me to do right now? It's helpful to have somebody check you.
I've got one for you. I'm wondering if I've lost the muscle for what is the word for doing work that is not inherently easy or easeful. I think there has been, within the circles that I run, people talk about things being easy, and that's fair enough. And effort being a problem, and all that. I think if I go back to the like 5 minutes of Eastern philosophy or ideology that I can understand, there is a story of a butcher who talks about carving up an ox, and that his blade basically doesn't hit anything. It's completely frictionless. It just moves in between effectively the particles of the meat and the bone, because he's so expert in it, and so it's just easy, and it's one stroke in and one stroke out kind of thing.
Beautiful. And
that is the word that's come to mind there is mastery, and I know it's gendered, but we'll go with it. Mastery.
You say it's gendered?
Yeah, I think so.
I'd never realized that.
Yeah, I think so, but it's not. I mean, you know,
it's complicated with the whole slave master scenario for sure.
There's that as well. But either way, you know, it's mastery. And I'm given to thinking at the moment. There's just certain things that I think I've lost the muscle to really stick with something to a degree that it becomes easy. And so what happens is I feel like I move to the next thing that feels easy. Like everything I do with List Envy, it's just I only do the easy bits. Someone emailed me today. They're a bit of an odd duck sometimes, but sorry if you are listening. It's unlikely, but you're a lovely person, but you're a bit of an odd duck. They were a guest on the show, and their episode went out, and I emailed them on Tuesday and gave them the details and said, "Here you go. Here's, you know, this is where it'll live. This is the address. You were great. Thank you. Really loved the episode." Never got anything back, and then I got a message back today that was like, "I haven't seen anything posted online. This is where you can tag me on social media." And I was like, "Okay, don't really do that for these reasons, but the reasons are that really I can't. I just don't want to.
Yeah, it's draining.
It is draining, but also we have to, and you can disagree if you like, and I'm here to hear how your disagreement takes shape. But I think we have to do things that we don't want to do in order to attain a goal that we want.
Yeah.
And there are some people who seem to think otherwise. And I feel like over the last few years, I've been around people who are just like, no, it should all be easy. And it's like, what if it was easy? And that's great. And there's time for that. But also, and maybe that's where I'm coming back to this idea of mastery or craft. I was actually thinking about craft. I don't know if it was this week or last week. And the idea of taking pride in the work, in not in the work being difficult, but in the work being, I don't know, we need another word for that. That's like involved or complicated, which does not mean complex, or the other way around. Actually, complex doesn't mean complicated. You know, work can be complex. Work can be multi-factored and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's just I'm wondering, you know, as much as maybe you're sat there thinking about addiction and stuff, I'm out here going, yeah, I wonder if I've lost the capacity to do a hard day's work, for want of a better word.
I mean, fucking tell me about it. Oh my god, dude. Right there with you.
Okay.
Yeah, like I've said for many years, like I'm ruined as an employee.
Yeah.
The idea of just following orders or doing something that's a hard day's work. I mean, it's right there in the name. And yeah, you know, I go, you know, I'm currently still remodeling this kitchen. I work and I do a lot of, like, yesterday I was nailing down hardwood floor, and that's fucking really hard work. Yeah, I use a pneumatic, an air compressed nailer, but you still have to like whack it with a hammer in order to actually get the thing to, and then you got to fit all the pieces the right way. They're heavy, solid wood, and you got to cut them intricately. And so like there's physical, mental,
labor,
and emotional, labor, and all these things. And I'm tired.
But what kind of tired is it?
Oh man, lately I don't know if this is the same thing you're going through. It sounds like there's kind of a general tiredness that is happening, like with everybody in my circles. Like I was talking to Unique has her different clients. A whole bunch of her clients are saying that they all feel really tired the past couple of weeks. I thought that it was the heat wave that we were going through here in Portland, and then I realized it was out of Portland too. And then you're on the other side of the earth.
I mean, it's hot, but it's probably not Portland. America hot. Yeah,
it was like 100 for a couple of days, and then in the high 90s for a couple of weeks, and now it dipped down, which was like, oh, it's a relief, but then it also kind of felt more draining at the same time. So it might not be weather related. Anyways, kind of a lot how you're describing it. It's just like the capacity to give effort is drained. And so, I mean, briefly to tie it back into what I was ranting about earlier, it's like, yeah, we're all drained. Like, and so I'm in the camp where, yeah, we're drained, but let's not turn to things that drain us more secretly than, like, and I'm thinking about this all in the context of God mode, as I want to help people step by step get through to pull themselves out of this. And oh yeah, I should share something with you. I wrote a kind of like a 4 pillars. Oh, it's a 3 pillars kind of thing. Oh, I need to work on this. I'll come back to that. But briefly, the kind of like the 3 pillars are: 1, remove what causes harm; 2, add what's missing by cultivating new healthy lifestyle habits; and 3, address the causes of the previous lifestyle. Because why did you go to those things? Why did you go to that food in the first place? It's not just because of the marketing. It's not because there is some void you were trying to fill. You don't go to social media and get swept down into it because you're happy with your social circle, or everything's going
because
right
because you've got all the friends you need.
Yeah, like there's some core problem that you were trying to solve with a tool that makes things worse and harder. That's what I wanted to say earlier.
Yeah, I think I can sit still a lot more for that point, because again, that speaks a little bit more to agency of like, it's not because you are powerless to the big marketing machine. It's that we at some point we chose, and let's look at why we chose. And let's help look at it from that, because I think maybe some of us chose because of curiosity, and some of us chose right back in the early days before it felt well. I think back in the early days before it became a lot more algorithmic based and systems based. Well, not systems based, but algorithm based.
Yeah.
When we take something like Twitter, when it was really just a feed of what are you up to, and there was an innocence to that. But yeah, I'm somewhat relieved, quite a bit relieved actually, to hear you say that. I think, and I would like to think that, like lots of things, it is maybe about just rebuilding that muscle. I went for this lovely long walk, and I've still been thinking here and there about, like, what if I laced up my boots and actually did a little bit of couch to 5K. I don't know if I'm there yet, but can certainly do some more long walks, and I'm good at that. And that's in some ways better for me and where I am in my situation. And over time, you build that, muscle up again.
Little bit,
figuratively and literally, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wonder whether the capacity, it's like, I don't know, like lung capacity or other capacities, you can increase it by practice.
For sure. 100%.
But maybe the practice is hard.
And also, sometimes you just can't.
Yeah.
Like, we've been talking about this week, and this relative time period has been difficult for both of us. Be a little bit vulnerable with you right now. The day before yesterday, Wednesdays and Sundays are the days that I do my weightlifting workout. And it was Wednesday morning. I was kind of running behind. I think I woke up late because I stayed up late talking with Margaret, and then so I didn't sleep great, and I was behind schedule. I really wanted to get to work, so I'm about to leave the house, and I realize I haven't done my weightlifting yet, and I just start crying. I was so sad. I was overwhelmed by just like, I am way too fucking tired. I can lift the weight, but I can't lift the weights. I feel like I'm letting myself down because I have this schedule that I want to keep, because I want to get, like, I can see and feel the difference that the weightlifting has been doing for me. Like, I feel bigger in a way that feels wonderful. I can very apparently lift more weight, both on the weights and at work. I used to have this my bones have gotten stronger, which is why I started weightlifting, is because my bone health was actually really low. And it was this thing that was going on for me. I didn't even think about or realize. A couple of years ago, you probably remember this, I fell off a ladder and fractured a bunch of bones in my feet. And like, if I were to have that same fall now, I don't think that they would break. I think that they broke then because my bone health was so bad. But if a couple of years ago, if I had hopped or jumped off of like a 1 foot ledge down onto the ground, there would be this stinging, straining, awful feeling, sharp pains in my feet and my legs, shooting up my legs. And what I realize now is that that's like my bones telling me, oh, you're straining us really hard. Because now I can jump off the back of my truck, even from the wall of like the side wall of my truck. I can jump down like 3.5 feet to a asphalt, and there's no pain at all. And it's like, wow, I can feel these massive benefits from weightlifting. And so I want to keep doing it. And I just break down. I mean, I don't like fall to my knees or anything, but I just start openly crying. It's like, I don't have time for this. I'm stressed. I am tired, and I'm letting myself down, but it's going to be a 1 workout week. I'm skipping it today. Just going to try and come back to it on Sunday. And, we don't always have the capacity for all the things that we want to do. It's hard. We gotta be kind and gentle to ourselves and allow for flexibility. And like, we can't always do everything that we want to do every day. There's only, like you said, there's only so many hours. And I've been thinking about that so much lately with all these. I've got multiple little side projects that I'm working on, not just God mode, but like little fun projects. And it's like, okay, which one do I work on right now? And also I'm still playing this game, which is fun. It's actually really interesting right now because the server that I'm on is kind of blowing up. It's dying. Like, people are leaving in mass, and there's like I'm a part of this one alliance that has decided to just go rogue and just kill everything. And I'm like, well, the server's already dead, so I might as well experience what this is like to be the villain. And so I'm just like randomly going up to other castles and just laying them to waste, just burning them to the ground. And it feels it's weird, but I'm just participating in the chaos. And it's fun to it's interesting to like be a part of this moment. And I haven't been playing a lot of games, especially massively multiplayer online games, and so I'm still getting a feel for this world and how this whole life cycle of a server is going on, because I started right at the beginning of the server, and it was like it's kind of this fun life cycle. But I'm like, trying to juggle, okay, when do I play, how much time do I dedicate to a game? How much time do I dedicate to Margaret's birthday gift? How much time do I dedicate to the secret art project that I want to show you when you get here, that I am so excited about? It's coming together in little bits, and oh my God, I want to share it with you so bad. Just like the idea of it, I want to share you how much I've worked on it. I want to share all of it. I think it'd be best to just surprise you with it when you're here, because I think that the delight, because it's going to come at you when you are. I'm not going to present it to you like, this is what I worked on. It's just going to happen, and like, oh God. I think that you're gonna dig it, or you're gonna hate it, or you're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate it so much. I think you're gonna love it, but also I'm pretty sure you're gonna hate it, which just makes me so happy. So complicated feelings, we're adults. We can have complicated feelings. I ranted for too long.
I don't think you did. So it's a weird one, and tenderness is what's called for.
Yeah, with ourselves, with each other.
Yeah, I'm going to be helping my parents move house tomorrow.
Ooh, where are they going? Just a new house.
Just a new house.
Within town, or are they moving?
No, it's not far. Not far.
Nice.
Well, we're mainly, I think, just like unpacking or like dismantling things that will then later be remantled. To borrow a phrase that I wrote in my newsletter today. So I think it's mainly just breaking stuff down. So I think I'm hoping that like a full day of doing stuff, especially, just running around, being useful, using my hands, lifting things, just being practical, and not using the brain much might be exactly the capstone that was needed. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I like the stuff with Narrow is interesting because I got to the point where I was like, I've done everything I want to do on that now. I'm going to put that over here, and I may come back to it, I may not. But like, I got halfway through Monday, and I was like, I'm done. Like, pardon me. I even got to a point where it works with Notion now, which it didn't previously, and I was like, I think I might have satisfied that.
Did you do with Notion whatever you had that thing that you talked about how you were going to when you were doing, was it Bumble, or was it maybe it was after Bumble?
Oh no, I haven't done anything as sophisticated as that.
Okay, I just remember you had a Notion plan for podcasting, and you added podcasting,
it was an idea
to
of, like, what if you effectively put all the information for your podcast in Notion. No, this one was just being able to take the little audio player and embed it in a Notion document.
Oh, neat. Which
was the entire use case for what Narrow was for. That's why I started it, because I wanted to do that.
Nice.
I ended up having, had to go through a third party to do it. And they got back to me in less than 24 hours. We're like, yeah, it's all done. Oh, cool. Great.
Sweet.
So that's sort of done. New side project for now, based on ideas that occurred to me writing the stuff for Narrow about local podcasting.
That's such a cool idea. It reminds me of Margaret and I were at her brother's birthday celebration, and we were at a restaurant, and then we walked to a gelato place, and there was a flyer for a podcast, and I scanned the QR code. I left the page up on my Safari for about a week, and maybe a week and a half, and then it closed it. I was like, oh, nope, I'm not going to get around to it.
That therein might be the issue there, because you've got to go to someone's. I think you've got to go straight to an app, because you're absolutely right. Like a tab, you'll just close a tab. Whereas at least if it opens an app, yes, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, you and I, we use, you use Overcast, I use Castro.
Yeah.
We are very much the outliers.
Right.
If you just did a thing that just opened straight to Spotify, you'd probably capture people. Doesn't matter if they, you'll get the odd person who's like, actually, I don't listen to podcasts on Spotify. I use my, fine, whatever. And then they might go and open that app. But you're absolutely right. I think opening it to a browser tab, it just makes it a lot harder. Whereas you might actually, if you're already in the right app, just hit follow at that point, and then you can put your phone away.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Whereas if you've got to jump through a hoop and it's like, I'm not really ready to do that now. I don't know.
I mean, this is where our project from ages ago, Pod2, would come into hand. It's like, then you could just hit follow on whatever service you already use.
But you know what? Even if we were more successful in 2017, which is when I think it was,
we were
maybe 2018, Spotify would have still come along and done and just said, no, we don't play ball. Everybody just goes to Spotify. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And then YouTube would have done exactly the same, because neither company
They don't want to be a mailbox. They don't want to be generic. They
don't want to be part of podcasting. They want to define what podcasting is on their terms.
Yeah, they don't want to be
part of it.
They want to create
it.
Yeah.
And then we're on Platform Season 3. Oh no, not Platform. It was Bitrate.
Bitrate. Yeah. Well, it started as
it did start as Platform.
Yeah. And then you had me on as a guest, and then I never left.
And I never will. You didn't have a sign off then, though.
I did not, but now I do. And as always, correct me if I'm wrong.